Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Focusing in on both the covert and the overt narcissist personality dynamics and how they utilize the manipulation tactics of fear, obligation, and guilt to allure people in, essentially to trap them into submission, trap others into submission, trap others into compliance, and trap them into an essentially attachment bond, a traumatic bond with them. The narcissist, as stated in The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists, and I definitely agree with the author Eleanor on this, she describes the power of the narcissist personality disordered person to bring you into unconscious agreement with their belief that they are someone truly extraordinary is possibly the most remarkable feature of the narcissist. So let's just break down that comment here. So the narcissist, when they are grooming you for supply, when they are grooming you, conditioning you, and programming you to become basically under their guise of control, underneath them. Remember, we're not talking about being equals, sharing, honoring each other's viewpoints, all the hallmarks that typify a basically healthy relationship and, combined with healthy self-esteem. When we talk about the narcissist personality disorder, they tend to promote this image of themselves as being remarkable, more remarkable than the average person. And they will let you know in no uncertain terms that they are remarkable either in their talents, their intellect, their money, their possessions. So it's the boasting, it's the bragging, it's the charming, it's the love bombing, that explosive sort of presence that they have, and really seeking to overwhelm you, overtake you. And okay, it's great to be overwhelmed with feelings of love, passion, bliss, sexual ecstasy, all these great things. But how the narcissist really works is a way to perpetuate this overwhelm of your personality. So overwhelm essentially is an anxiety state, it's a frantic state, it can be a disorienting state where you're essentially wondering what am I doing? What do I need to do to keep this going? And you're essentially being addicted to this person because of the way they present themselves as this remarkable human being, which means like they're the only one that is worthy of attention, especially in the relationship. And if it's in a group dynamic, you'll see them basically as the alpha male, the alpha dog, things of the nature. So they'll really try to really dominate and prevail over others, and especially others' personalities. So really setting forth that persona or facade can be very overwhelming, and it really keeps you sort of in their light versus in your own light. So part of healing through narcissistic abuse and the negative impact of narcissist relationships is putting yourself in your own positive light and feeling and experiencing your life in your own positive light. Because the narcissist will have you to believe which is a falsehood, which is part of their pathology and their pathological lying, that their viewpoint, their perspective, their talent, their gift, their style, etc., is the end all be all and really the only value that matters in the relationship. So people who have had narcissistic parents, they've had to adapt by becoming codependent or living on values which weren't in tune with their own emotional personality or resonance. They have been raised to be under the guise of perfectionistic parents, which held them to very unnatural heights. Very high. It's great to have high expectations and work towards it, and be supportive and encouraging, but when the expectations are just really sky high, to the point where, you know, people can't exist, and they can't have emotions, and they can't discuss things, and, you know, there's no sharing of the floor, because it's a one-directional value sort of coming from them, from the down, from the top down. So the narcissist tends to promote this: I'm so remarkable, I'm the only one who's right, I'm the only one who has the correct value, I'm the one who only has the correct opinion, and you have to basically adapt or die to me. And that's very much a hallmark trait in both the overt and covert narcissists. So, you know, it's very important in your healing is to identify this and then pull away, individuate, and realize and identify what your values and your viewpoint are, and your connection, and your fascination and awe with life, or what you find interesting or incredible about a culture, or an industry, or a type of business, or type of animals, or the different things that you really value and you embrace, that are cool to you, and that make you feel like you've got substance inside. Because when you're with a under the manipulation of a covert or overt narcissist, who essentially someone who feels that they're so super extraordinary and everybody else is quote unquote ordinary, or they almost sort of project to you as if you're boring, and that is not the case. It is their projection, though, that they would have you and lead you to believe that. Because for you to do that, well, then you would give up your personality, you would give up your voice, you would give up your appearance, you would give up your presence in order to essentially admire them, to be a groupie to them, to be, go along with the bandwagon, to feed their illusion, to feed into their perpetual, their reality. And so, a lot of people, I had another client who gave a very accurate description of that. In essence, when you feel like you become a zombie, and I think that's a very great experience, or a great word that typifies what it's like to be really sort of entrenched in that abuse, and really so brainwashed and gaslighted and addicted to somebody and their viewpoint that you can't extract yourself. But you're so really sort of flooded with oxytocin and dopamine, serotonin, and the hormones are all going, and you're so addicted to them and so attached, and they're playing with your mind games to such a profound degree that you are disconnected and disconcerted from your own values, your own viewpoint, your own perception. And in her experience, she had described how this person, who really essentially I feel is a little bit more of a psychopath, but even states in her home and in her neighborhood where she traditionally felt very much at home, he was trying to cause paranoia and fear and sort of alarm. So he's very disrupting the very fabric of her peace. And this is really how they work. I also call it, they're trying to disrupt your happiness habit, or sort of what's natural and ingrained and innate to you. They really try to separate that from the very fabric. They try to really sort of dissolve the very kind of inner weavings that make you you. And it's, especially if it's chronic for a long period of time, it can be very disorienting, very uncomfortable, really create a lot of rage, and really kind of pulls out the worst of people. So if you find that you're engaged in that sort of vicious cycle, it's definitely a time and a chance for you to say, okay, wow, these narcissist people, this is how they engage. They love this battle. I mean, if they can keep you sucked into their perpetual path of them being the only viewpoint that's correct, not letting you share and open and air your opinions. If they're continue to perpetuate that, so you're just like in their tailspin, you're in their eddy, like if you've ever seen you know, like in the water where you see kind of like a swirling. I mean, that's essentially what you get your foot into. So you need to pull your foot out and separate from their undertow, because that's really what the abuse begins to feel like. It's like an undertow. It sweeps you in, and it's important to get regrounded and like centered back in yourself and embrace your own perspective once again, and not just inhabit the values of the narcissist. Create the values identification of your own. Have values of your own that might be contradictory to a narcissist. It might be the same, but it is your own. And so your own viewpoints, your own values, your own style, really can then become developed once you allow yourself that individuation, and not just getting caught up in a sort of, dominating perspective that they would have you lead you to believe. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.